there, my name's Glenna and this is my channel, The Naughty Giraffe, where I talk about my knitting. I haven't recorded for a while because, well, I've just been really busy, so I have a lot of knitting to talk about. I'm coming to you today, like I always am, from Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, where I live with my dog, and yeah, I'm an avid knitter, and this is my little channel where I talk about it. So grab a beverage, grab your knitting or whatever, and let's get started. So first off, if you are a regular viewer, you'll notice that there is definitely something different about me at the moment. I have been doing cancer wig cuts for the last 20 plus years, I guess. I think I've done 5 or 6 of them now, where I just, my hair grows ridiculously fast, so I lop it off when I have a foot to give and send it off for wigs. So I'm definitely looking a little different these days. But yeah, okay, so first on the list is my paper doll sweater. So this is so this is my paper doll sweater. It's a Kate Davies design. It's knit and fingering weight yarn. I'm not wearing it today because it's kind of cold. Actually, I should have started with what I'm wearing, which is the Nordic Bloom vest, which I believe is Caitlin Hunter. I'll put it down below. I'm sure everybody knows the Nordic Bloom vest by now. It's been such a popular pattern, knit in Cascade 220, and I believe I talk all about it in my last episode. But yeah, so this is the paper doll sweater. It's a fingering weight sweater, and so that's why it took me so long. I knit it in, what is it? Sorry, I have my notes down on my lap here, so excuse me. I knit it in the K-Zip Knit Beach Avenue fingering, and the red is the Lamina Merida. They're both a silk merino blend. It's a bottom-up pattern, which is one of the reasons why I am not as happy with it as I should be, because it is just too long, and it's also bigger. I guess I've had a problem with sweaters in the past where I haven't given enough or added enough positive ease to them. So I decided I was going to do the next size up, which I believe I knit. What size did I knit? I'm trying to remember. I think it was like the size 4. It was definitely a size up. The bust size was either it was going to have like 1 inch of positive ease, or it was going to have 4 or 5 inches of positive ease or whatever, and I went for the bigger size, and I really regret doing that because it just kind of hangs on me. I will put in some photos of me wearing it here. Yeah, I decided to knit the little dancers in the middle using a rainbow colored yarn that very quick color changing, because I couldn't decide what color to make the little paper dolls in. So I used a very quick color changing, and I think it turned out pretty good. I like that, and it looks really good when I wear my overalls with it, because then you see the yoke and you don't see that it's just a little too big and hangs on me a little longer than I would like. It's knit on 3.25 millimeter needles. Sorry, I don't know what that is in US. What is that? Oh, it's a US 3 is for the main body in the stockinette stitch. And yeah, it was really nice to knit. The fabric's lovely. The drape in it is lovely. But like I said, I think I made it too big, and so yeah, it's definitely wear with my overalls style knitting. And yeah, I do love the bottom. It's got the corrugated ribbing on the bottom with the 2 colors, and you get that on the sleeve as well and on the neckline. They're all sewn off bindings. And yeah, that's about all I have to say on that. It was a very easy pattern to follow. It's got short rows in the back to raise the neck up. And I would love to try knitting it again, maybe in a different color. I think the rainbow people are good, but they're not quite what I had envisioned. And I would definitely knit a size smaller so that it was more snug fitting than going a size up. So that is finished object number 1. So finished object number 2 is the pumpkin hat. It's a design by, oh gosh, what is it? Sorry, I need my glasses again here. It's a design by Sarah Hood. It was a free pattern that I got on Ravelry. It's knit with 4.5 millimeter needles. And I just used I went to Michael's and just got some of their inexpensive loops and threads, impeccable brights, to make this little pumpkin hat for my stepdaughter's little girl, or my little granddaughter. And then the leaves I just used, and the stem I just used some stash that I had. But yeah, it's knit up on 4.5 millimeter needles, really quick knit, great pattern, super, super easy to follow. My stepdaughter sent me a photo of a little baby inside a pumpkin wearing the hat with little holes for the baby's arms and legs to stick out. And it was so cute. She said, could Nana knit one of these? And so I was at Michael's that afternoon and had the hat finished by the next day, because it was, very fast knit. It's worsted weight knit wool, or yarn, so it really knits up quickly. And anything baby usually does. So that was finished object number 2. Finished objects number 3, 4, and 5 are all fingerless mitts that I've made. I've been on a knitting spree of fingerless mitts, just using the, what did I use? I used the opal yarn, I think, for these ones, the opal 6-ply. I can't remember what this one was, but these ones, I knit up 3 pairs of these. So there's 1 and 2 and 3, and they're all quite similar because I just did the same. I just went to where the pattern repeated to make the same, so that they all knit up the same. I didn't have to think about it. It's just a pattern that I devised on my own. It's a very straightforward, easy pattern, and it's free if anybody wants it. You can just look on my project page. I go into pretty good description of how I did it. They're not difficult to make, but I'm hoping I can sell them at my Fiber Arts Guild's annual winter sale that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So those are finished objects number 3, 4, and 5. So finished object number 6 is, I did another shift cowl. I made this one completely out of scraps that I had, just leftovers from when I made my, my soldatna, and from another shift that I made as well. I had lots of leftovers, and so I just knit this up. It's mostly done with, Malabrigo Arroya yarn, so a sport weight yarn. And I varied from the pattern just a little bit and made it a slight bit smaller than what they called for, because I found that the first two, I think this is my fourth shift, I think, that I made now. I made quite a few because it's just a very easy to carry with you pattern. It's so easy to follow once you get the hang of it, and because it's basically just a 4-row repeat that it's quite easy to knit on the go. And yeah, I just used a bunch of different colors, and yeah, I think it turned out nice. I'm gonna put this in the Christmas, or I keep calling it a Christmas sale, but I'm not supposed to. It's a winter sale, a winter market. So I will, be putting this in for sale there too. And if nobody buys it, it will probably end up being a Christmas present for someone, or I might just keep it and wear it myself, because yeah, I love these things. They're just so cozy around your neck, and yeah, they're made on 3.75? Let me look it up, hang on. And there goes the dog, right on cue. Gallagher, please stop. It's always fun recording when you have a dog with you. Okay, so the shift, it's knit with the Malabrigo Arroyo, and I used the colors Arapi, Reflecting Pond, Plum, and what was the other one? Oh, and then I used some other sport yarn I had in the color Thistle. So yeah, anyway, it was really fun. Easy knit. I'm sure you've heard of the shift, and if you haven't, it really is a fun, easy pattern to knit up, and I highly recommend it. And there goes the clock. Always the clock going in my episodes. Anyhow, this next finished object, which I can't even remember what number I'm at now. Let's see, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is number 7. 7 and 8 technically, I guess, is a little baby sweater and the matching hat. It was a free pattern that I found, and it's using chunky wool, so it knit up super quick. It's, what is it? It's let's see. It's called the Perfect Top-Down Baby Jacket by Marianne Amell. And I knit it on 6.5 millimeter needles, and I used the Hayfield Baby Blossom Chunky, which there's the label, if you can see it because of the light, I don't know. But it's, yeah, it was, I saw somebody else had done a different pattern using this I and I just fell in love with it. It's so cute. I absolutely love this. And so I saw that there was a store in Armstrong, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away drive, and I drove out there and they had it. So I was able to get that, and yeah, I knit it up pretty quick, and then I bought enough that I have as a whip right now. I'm doing up a baby blanket in the same yarn, but I've got the same stuff but in 3 or 4 different colors, and so I'm gonna do it sort of like a jelly roll blanket as a baby blanket, where, just do it in strips and seam it together. So yeah, it's great yarn to work with. It's an acrylic, which I'm not normally a huge fan of acrylic yarns, but it's super soft, and most importantly for a new mother and a little baby, it's machine washable. So that was, yeah, I can't count how many finished objects I have, but that's those ones done. Next on the list, and I think last but not least, I could say, are a pair of mittens that I made with fingering weight yarn. I did not use a pattern. I just knit them up I started off thinking I was going to knit socks, and so I cast on 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter needles and started knitting and got partway through, and then realized what I really needed was a pair of liner mittens that I could put inside my mitts that I knit last year, my hand spun, because I found that I was wearing fingerless mitts under the hand spun mitts just as an extra layer, but then the tips of my fingers would get cold. So I thought, why not just knit some mittens in fingering weight yarn and be done with it. So I did. So yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. I did 2 different kinds of thumb gussets. This one I was smart and I put the increases going in a straight line going up. This one I was not smart and I put the increases going up on the edge of the thumb, which did not turn out as well. But you know what? They're going to be tucked inside of their mittens. Nobody's going to see them. And I'm just sharing my failure with you because that's, well, you know, nobody is perfect. And sometimes I think when we watch these knitting channels, we see everything done so perfectly and we think, oh, I don't knit like that. I make mistakes. Well, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. And so this was one of mine, but you know what? It's functional, it's usable, and I'm quite happy with it. So I believe that that's it for finished objects this time around. I will move on to some works in progress. So trying to use up the rest of the opal 6-ply that I have started another pair of fingerless mitts with this green stuff, and I just used scraps for this one when I was trying to color match when I did the last one, because honestly the pattern on this stuff, the pattern repeat is very long, and I didn't want to waste that much yarn, so I started just cutting it out so that I could finish the first pair. Because yeah, just to show you, where are that first pair? There they are. Show you the difference in them. Like this had this big fade of the green into the yellow before it got to here. And so to get to that point, I had to skip through all this here at like a whole other section of the white. So yeah, so I'm not trying to color match this one. These are just going to be for me, and so I'm just going for it and knitting, and what will be. I've got the cuff done. I do 15 rounds of 2x2 rib for the cuff, and then I usually do 10 rounds before I start the thumb gusset. Add in, I start with 44 stitches. And and then I'll just keep doing increases every second row up until I have 60 stitches all together, and then I'll do 2 rows and add 1, and 2 more rows and add the last one, and then split for the thumb. But I do have, like I said, I have all that in written down on my Ravelry page if you're at all interested in trying my I guess it's supposed to be a sport weight, but this is almost more like a DK weight, I think. The 6-ply, I think 6-ply is supposed to be, yeah, it's supposed to be sport, but anyhow, it definitely knits up as a DK. But that is work in progress number 1. Work in progress number 2, I believe I showed you already, was the blanket, and oh, I've got weird lighting happening, but yeah, you can see it's going to be done in strips. So I'm knitting this on some 7mm needles that I had. I tried, oh gosh, I started with 8mm needles. They were too big. I started with 35 stitches across and it was too many. I went down to 25 stitches across and it wasn't enough. And so I settled on 30 stitches across on the 7mm needles. And yeah, I'm just gonna knit strips, and then as I go, I will knit them together the same way that I've done my jelly roll blanket that I'm still working on. That's been a work in progress for the last year using my fingering weight scraps. which I will show you again one of these days. I'll pull it out and show, but I haven't done a lot of progress on it because it's gotten to the point where it's too big to take with me anywhere other than unless I'm going to stay somewhere for a little while. And I just seem to have so many other projects on the go that it's not working. So anyway, my second to last work in progress is another baby sweater that I'm making. And this one I have just gone completely off pattern. I started off doing a cardigan and I got the top part done. And then this yarn, it's a Malabrigo. I can't remember what the color's called now. I'll put it down below here. But it looks so pretty in the skein, but when I started knitting it up, it's just, I don't know, it's just not, I really wasn't happy with it. So I saw somebody had added some colored stripes to theirs in the cardigan, the pattern that I originally started with. And so I had this thistle, I think was the color of the Viola sport weight yarn. And so I started adding that in, doing rounds. And then I decided just to go completely off chart, and instead of making it a cardigan, to make it a pullover sweater. And then I used the horses from Sand and Skies. I don't know if you watch the, one of my favorite podcasts is called Fleece and Harmony. And there's a lady on there, Simone. She's a designer who goes by the name Sand and Sky. And I bought her pattern to make a hat with these horses on it. And I still haven't made the hat, but this is a baby sweater for a new mother-to-be who loves horses. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna knit the sweater, I'm gonna put the horses prancing around and then just wing it from there. So this has been a total leap of faith, going way, way, way off chart. No idea what I'm doing, but it seems to be turning out. I'm hoping. I just have, I'm gonna do just a couple more rows of the plain pink on the bottom and then bind it off and do the sleeves. And then I'm going to put a little bright pink button band going down here. And I will probably just do a free stitching of the bright pink around the neckline as well once I'm done. But yeah, it's a labor of love, and I'm hoping that the mother loves it. And yeah, it's definitely a leap of faith. So I think that's it. Oh wait, no, I have one more whip. That's right. I am making a pair of socks using this yarn from, I believe it was called Puzzle Tree. It was some stuff I got when I was camping last summer or back in August. I went to the Vibrations Yarn Festival in Victoria again this year, which it is such a lovely festival. It's outdoors, so I was able to bring my dog, and there was like, oh, I don't know how many tents set up, but there was just so much yarn to choose from. And I bought this for a pair of socks, and as you can see, I am knitting a top-down sock. I am just about at the toe. It's a slip stitch heel, and yeah, so this is the first sock. So I'm hoping that I can, yeah, get these off my needles soon. But yeah, just 2.25 millimeter magic loop socks. So that is it for knitting for this time around. I actually recorded this entire episode, oh gosh, about a week and a half ago. And then when I went to play it back, discovered that somehow I'd pushed something on my phone and it went on into autofocus and just focused on something way in the back of the room. I don't know what, but it was like the whole thing was completely out of focus. And so I had to refilm, and it's just taken me a while to get around to doing it. So as always, I do have my segment on books that follows this of what I've been reading for the last month. However, it was recorded a week and a half ago, so I have finished other books since then, but that's okay. I'll just leave it as is. So if you're not into reading, then I will say so long for now. And if you are and curious as to what I'm reading, then stick around. And and by the way, one last quick little plug, my novel, The Art of Getting Lost and Found, is now available for pre-sale. You can find it anywhere that you buy books online. So I'm very excited about that, but I'll have more on that in my next episode. So, all right, bye for now, and happy knitting, and on to reading. Okay, so I've got my glasses back on so that I can see what I'm talking about as I dive into reading. I have read a lot of books since my last update, which was, oh gosh, when was that? That was back in the end of August. I believe the last book I read or talked about was called The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. So my first up was Valentine in Montreal by Heather O'Neill, which was a very interesting book. She actually wrote it in installments that ran in the local newspaper, sort of the same way that Charles Dickens used to publish his things. And so when she published the book of the stories, she didn't go back and change anything. So she was kind of writing on the fly as she went all the way through with no ability to go back and edit. So it was very interesting, and each chapter is named after a different metro station in Montreal. So very interesting. I liked it. It was quirky. It was fun. I love Heather O'Neill. She's one of my favorite Canadian writers. Then I read Tanya Tagaq's book, Split Tooth, which was it was really weird. That's about the best way I could describe it. It's not a standard novel. I love the way she told the story. There's a lot of, excuse me, a lot of magic realism in there, and it wasn't my favorite book of the month, I'll put it that way, but it was good. Then I read Help Me Jacque Cousteau by Gil Adamson. If you've ever read any of Gil Adamson's book, if you haven't, I really recommend her. She's a brilliant, brilliant Canadian author. She wrote a book called The Outlander, which is not to be confused with the Sosnick or whatever it was. the one with what's that handsome guy's name? I can't even think of his name now, but not the one. It has nothing to do with the series that got turned into a television thing, where she needs to get rescued every month or every episode. This is totally different. It was just a brilliant, brilliant book. But she wrote The Ridge Runner and Outlander, were two in a series. Those were her first two novels. And then she wrote this one called Help Me Jacque Cousteau, which was just about this very, very quirky family and just beautifully written. Highly recommend. Full 5 out of 5. Shrines of Gaiety. I did another Kate Atkinson book. I found it at the used bookstore and picked it up to read while I was camping. And honestly, I was laughing out loud so hard that people in the campground where I was staying kept looking over at me like I was crazy. I really enjoyed it. It was like a trip back to the roaring 20s, and there's mobsters and these two girls who run away and the local librarian who turns detective that goes looking for them. And it was a really fun read. I really enjoyed it. Then I read the Shipping News by Annie Proulx, which has been on my TBR list for way too long, and oh my gosh, did I enjoy it. Full 5 out of 5. Absolutely loved it. And then I did the lesser known monsters of the 21st century, which was just a fabulous collection of short stories and definitely way out of my normal genre of reading. Very speculative fiction based, but again, full 5 out of 5. Loved it. Then I read The Crane by Monica Kidd, which was a beautiful unfolding story about these brothers and the war. Excuse me. And yeah, just loved it. Oh, and then I also found at the used bookstore The Ape House by Sarah Gruen. She wrote Water for Elephants. So if you enjoyed Water for Elephants, you would enjoy The Ape House. It's the same sort of idea of, more of a, how like she really manages to capture the heart and soul of the animals and the evil side of people that are exploiting them. I gave that one a 4.5 out of 5. I just very much enjoyed it. Then I read The Beekeeper of Aleppo, which was very eye-opening for me, dealing with the struggles of refugees that are trying to immigrate into London. Just the heartache and the struggles that they go through. And then they finally get there and they get turned away kind of thing. It's just, I'm not spoiling the end because that's not what happens to, or maybe it is. Don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't read it, but it was, I just, very, very, very good novel. I very much enjoyed it. So that was my August reads. And then in September, I started with The Sisters of Belfast, which I think I gave a 2 out of 5 on Goodreads for. It was just so sappy and predictable. And it was, just, twin sisters who fall in love with the same guy. And one of them goes off and becomes a nun. And then, of course, there's stories about the nuns and one of the nuns' sisters, and just I don't know, I kept thinking, okay, it can't get any worse. Well, it can't get any worse. Well, it really can't get any worse now, and I just kept reading to see, and it just kept getting worse all the way through. So yeah, definitely would not recommend that one. Then I read The Sisters Brothers by Patrick DeWitt, and that was just charming. I loved it. It was a little gruesome, but it was just these two brothers back in the days of the Wild Wild West and their guns for hire, and the dry sense of humor was just brilliant all the way through. I laughed and I laughed and I laughed, and it was great. Oh, and then I chalked another off my TBR list. I read The Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. And oh my gosh, that has got to be, I think that was my favorite book for September. I just absolutely loved it. It's funny, it's a bit of a struggle at the very beginning. Because he introduces a bunch of characters, and one of them's on a spaceship in the future, and then it goes back to like the 1400s or something, and it was kind of, you didn't know how everything was going to sort of fit, but it was, oh my gosh, I didn't want that book to end. It was massive. It was like 700 pages or something like that. It was just a huge book. But definitely well worth it. Highly recommend it. The next one I did was a book of short stories called 14 Days that was put together by a bunch of different authors during COVID as a fundraiser. And the big name authors that are involved in this project, I had really expected more. I just really, there was a lot of some stories in there that just didn't mesh. And when I got to the end to see how they tried to tie it all up together, it just pissed me off. It just did. And so I gave it a 3 out of 5. Then I read my first Louise Penny book. I had never read any of her. I got to meet her not last summer, the summer before, when she was featured at the Writers at Woody Point Festival in Newfoundland. And so I had heard her read from this book there, so I was very curious to read the book. And I'm not a fan of detective novels. It's just not my shtick. But I really enjoyed her writing, and I thought that, it's very, it just, if you can get your mind into the right state for that genre of book, it was very well written, and I can understand why she has so many followers. Then I read another Annie Proulx book. I had loved the shipping news so much that I decided to try another one of her books, and I picked up Barkskins, which was just this massive 600-page book that was not worth the time. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It went on and on and on and on and on, and I ended up skimming part of it. It was you just start to like a character, and then in the next paragraph she casually mentions that person's dead, and somebody else is carrying on, and then just so many boring conversations and things that just didn't need to be in there. It could have been tightened up so much. I was very disappointed with that one. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Oh, and then I read one I absolutely loved, The Tiger and the Cosmonaut. I've started trying to work my way through the Giller Prize nominations. Here in Canada, the biggest book prize that we have is called the Giller Prize. And The Tiger and the Cosmonaut was just absolutely brilliant. I loved it right from the start. It just gorgeous, gorgeous prose, and a plot that just keeps you turning pages. Very much loved it, very much. Then I read The Paris Express by Emma Donoghue, which Emma Donoghue, she wrote The Pull of Our Stars, and Room was, I think, her big one that she wrote. I love this. This was based on the true story of a train that crashes through the station in Paris back in the 1800s. And she starts the story off letting you know that somebody is boarding the train with a bomb. So you're just, how could you not stay riveted the whole way through when you don't know what's going to happen? And all I'd ever seen was the picture of the train dangling after it crashed through the wall at the station. So I didn't know the history. I didn't know whether anybody died or anything in the true facts, but brilliant, beautifully written. Then I read Pick a Color by, please forgive me pronouncing this, Suvankam Thamavongsa. Yeah, I think that's it. Suvankam Thamavongsa. She wrote the Giller-winning book, How to Pronounce Knife. And so this is her second publication, so I was dying to read it. I had loved the first one. Pick a Color is the story of a boxer, this lady who is a boxer who starts her own nail salon, and the prose is beautiful. She leaves a lot for the reader to figure out on their own, which I enjoy, but I think she left a little too much for the reader to figure out. So I only gave it a 4 out of 5, but I love her prose. It's beautifully written, and I can see why it was nominated for the Giller. The last book that I finished was a slog. It was This Strange Eventful History by Claire Massoud. which the prose in it is absolutely gorgeous. It is just so poetic and beautifully written, but the plot was kind of like watching paint dry. It was very, very slow moving and without any real reward, and nothing stuck when it was done. So it just, yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5. So that was my reading roundup since August. I told you there was a lot there. I tried to do it fast. So that's it for this episode. Take care and be kind to each other. And I will see you when I have some knitting and books to talk about next. Okay? All right. Bye for now.